Hey guys, Grumpy here with another episode of Rum Runners. So, in the previous episode, I put the question out if you guys were okay with me purchasing salvage rigs, and it seemed like for the most part, as long as it was a non-combat ship, you guys were okay with me including that in the fleet. So I went ahead and purchased two of them. I have two here. The salvage rigs have the built-in hull mod salvage gantry, which increases the amount of resources that you gain from stations, derelict, floating hulls. Um, and it also applies part of their bonus to post-battle salvage. So this is going to affect things like fuel, supplies, heavy machinery, heavy armaments, luxury goods. All the commodities that we get from combat is going to be increased by these salvage rigs. So it just makes combat a little more efficient for gathering resources. And it would make sense, right? That pirates would want to get um, the most out of their skirmishes. Right now, I'm in Myasora. I'm at Los Astropolis, and I found some really good ships that I want to add to the fleet, and I want to show them off before I buy them. If we go over to the black market here, we have another barbarian, which I'm not really interested in, but we have Colossus Mark threes. It it's not a good ship, but it is a carrier, and I would like to start incorporating carriers into the fleet. I think rounding out our ship, or rounding out our armada with a couple of carriers is going to do really nicely. Um, as long as these don't have degraded drive field, I didn't check for that. They don't. So I'm going to go ahead and incorporate these into the fleet, and these would be our latest additions, as well as I'm going to grab one more enforcer, and then I'm going to go over the fleet as a whole so far. Right, we need crew. Let's just buy some crew. So here's the fleet. I found another enforcer. I think I just bought this from uh, Granier, the pirate station in Corvus. And then I also found a couple of shades. Pirate shades are okay. I don't really use them offensively. They're just built for tanking, dodge tanking that is. They have safety overrides, unstable injector, hardened subsystems, maximum vents, and pretty much their job is just to harass things and then use their EMP emitter intermittently to lock down bigger ships. Let me move these up here. The enforcers are built. I tried to build this one the same way. I don't have all the same supplies. Um, I can swap these out finally. We're still looking to add Sabo missiles to this, and we're just gonna build a nice bulk of enforcers. We're just gonna keep building that bulk of enforcers, and this will be kind of like the core of the fleet. These enforcers will be our line ships. They're very tanky. They have decent-ish armor, decent hull, and they're pretty much just a nuisance for the enemy to deal with overall. Alright. For our Mark 3s, I think I'm just going to put those razors in there. They have light needlers on them, which is a kinetic pressure weapon. I could also go with broadswords, but broadswords just cost more, more OP, and there's less in a pack. So, alright. And then as far as defenses go, I think I'm just gonna put Vulcan cannons on the sides and then light machine guns. We'll just do single light machine guns. And these bad boys will just chill out in the back. We'll name this one Custom. Okay. And then this is the fleet so far. It's starting to come together. It's still nowhere near where I want it to be. But it's moving in the right direction. We have a lot more line ships now, and our Our barbarian's not really an anchor. I wouldn't consider this an anchor, but it is just a ship that we can center the fight around. Anyway, let's go ahead and repair, and then head over to Penelope Star. So I've had absolutely zero luck with getting an enforcer or getting an eradicator so far, and I don't know if you can even purchase a Atlas Mark II. I would be interested in using a couple Atlases. Again, they're not really great ships. Oh, hello. But they do have a ton of firepower. Um, yeah, this should be an easy fight. It's just a bunch of frigates. They do have a lot of firepower to them, and I'd be interested in bringing them to fights because a lot of times what kills us, which you'll see here, is just dealing with a bunch of frigates. And if you bring some Atlas Mark IIs to the fight, you're going to have access to large missiles. And in those large missiles, you can put things like, you can put locust swarms in them. I don't think we need sabos for this. I think we could just get in here with our assault chain guns. Alright. Oh. Okay. Oh, we did replace the machine gun with a needler now, so now we're just focused strictly on DPS. We don't have to worry about our machine gun targeting missiles as they come in. I'm actually gonna hold my fire here so we don't waste shots on those fighters. And then our shade, I'm actually gonna have it escort me, and I'm gonna start assigning engage orders so that we can keep the fleet centralized, more or less. I'm gonna burn drive back here, switch over to our sabos. Go ahead, deal with this mule. So here you can also see the effectiveness of just firing sabos and using them as just a damaging missile. If wow, ooh, buddy. Even if they are used against hull, they still do like I think it's 800 to 1,000 damage. Whatever when I fire all of mine, because it's 4 times 200. Alright, let's claim victory before we lose that ship. We'll pursue them, and we'll just let our second in command handle it. Really? Really? Okay. I'll consider ship recovery. You know what? We'll grab these ships. Might as well add them to the fleet. And let's dump the metal. And then let's follow this up and take on the Atlas. We should have just did the fight ourselves. Alright. Oh, that's a problem. Ooh, see, that's a problem. It's the DJ Khaled suffering from success meme. Let's dump the supplies for now, and then we'll come back for them. I can't check where to sell that. Umbra usually needs heavy machinery. Alright. I'm supposed to be exploring. I'm not even supposed to be fighting right now. Chorus needs them in YMA. Um, there's a gate. You know what? Let's just fly to YMA, and then we'll come back for that. Anyway, today's episode we're just gonna focus on exploring um, Penelope Star. It's gonna take a lot of supplies because unfortunately I couldn't find um, what's the ability? It's a hull mod. I can see it. It's like blue and it has circles. It's not high resolution sensors. Maybe it is, but something that reduces your supply cost. I tried looking and I just couldn't find that blueprint. Let's head over to Chorus, which is by the star up here. Yeah, so we're gonna have to pay full price to survey, which kind of sucks. We don't even have the um, what is it called? I think it's yeah. We don't even have makeshift equipment, so we're gonna pay like full price to do our surveys. What else do we have here? Oh, we have a wolf. I'll purchase one of those. All right. Let's go ahead and sell off our machinery, our heavy machinery. We'll sell off all of it to get the most that we can. And we'll keep the heavy machinery. Sorry, we'll sell the heavy armaments. We'll keep the heavy machinery because I believe you need 200, possibly more, in order to survey giants. That's fine. We can probably sell like 500 supply. And then other than that, I think we're good to go. Let's refit the ships that we just got. Do you have an auto fit? You do. That looks interesting. We'll look at all these builds later on in greater detail. I could just give you safety overrides. We'll look at these builds in greater detail later on. It's just right now I just want to get out of the door and make our way over to Penelope Star. Alright. And then the wolf will actually take some time and do this one right. We'll go ahead and give you some Atropos missiles. Still chasing that ion lance or ion pulsar. I haven't been able to find that yet. And we'll give you the ion cannon. That was over here. And then you guessed it, safety overrides. As well as expanded missile racks. We'll actually give you swarmers instead. If we have some, we don't. We could take swarmers off of this guy. If you haven't seen this ship, this is a Predator. I'm gonna dig more into this ship. I really like its armaments. It's kind of like a beefed up Lasher. You can take a burst laser. You'll just be like a point defense ship. And we'll give you the swarmer missiles that we took off of that ship. Alright. Now we're gonna use the gate so that we can jump back to magic, and then we'll head over to Penelope Star. Oh, okay. Thank you for the sabo. I appreciate it. Yeah, I do have to be careful though. As we add ships to our fleet, our sensor profile goes way up. We don't have sensors, so it's really hard to hide ourselves, and it makes traveling between the gates kind of tricky because sometimes the gates will be right next to um, an enemy picket fleet, and so I don't know if it's Nex or if I've just had a string of bad luck, but some of these pickets are like unstoppable. Really good ship designs, or really good fleet composition, and then really good ship designs. Usually like the elite or overdriven versions of the normal ships that appear. Alright. Okay, so let's go outside in. I think that works. So let's go ahead and find the gravity well tucked in the clouds. And let's begin exploring. Telephus station. Okay. I wonder if we can activate that. Alright, so this is surveying. So in case you haven't seen this before, you when you go to a planet that has been unsurveyed, you have an option to perform a survey. It requires a certain number of crew, a certain amount of heavy machinery, and then an amount of supplies are going to be consumed in order to perform the survey. The crew and the heavy machinery aren't consumed. The amount it's going to cost is based on the planet's hazard rating before you discover any additional planetary conditions. Let's go ahead and perform the survey. So we find plentiful volatiles on this planet. So we get +2, that's really good. That's as high as you can roll on that. And we also get a little bit of experience, and this is classified as a class 2 planet. The classes range from 1, which is the most common, all the way up to class 5, which is the most rare. Alright, and then you have an option down here to establish a colony. This does consume part of your crew. It also consumes your heavy machinery and your supplies. If you are going to establish a colony, make sure you bring an additional 1,000 crew because you won't have the crew you need in order to continue to pilot the ships that you have. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, we leave. And one of the options I was told about is consider constructing an outpost. Apparently these generate resources for you. I'm not going to do that right now, but that is something to consider. Alright, so that's a really great start. Probably going to end up colonizing that world. You know what? Yeah, we'll go to that one and then we'll continue clockwise. Probably going to end up colonizing that gas giant. Um, that +2 modifiers on the volatiles makes it a really valuable planet. That'll be our fuel production worlds. Alright, next up we have Ismara, a cryovolcanic world. Let's go ahead and perform the survey. Wow. Again, plentiful volatiles. Not bad. This planet has an atmosphere, so that's a little bit of a problem, but overall, not bad. We probably will. Oh, I get to mine that planet. Interesting. We may settle there. Not immediately. That might be on the second round of uh, of colonization. What we're really looking for is a world that produces organics and farmland, ideally. Interesting. Captain, there appears to be a faint signal coming from low orbit. Interesting. Alright. Yeah, we'll retrieve the data core. We'll just take it. Alright. Form another survey. I should have inspected it. I'm never talking to the academy. Hmm. Alright. Yeah, as you can see, we started with 3,200 supplies. We're down to 29 already. We're about halfway done though, so we should have enough. We have a toxic world, a barren world, and a gas giant. Not really good world, just ores. Ores are very common. Probably the most common discovery you can make. Rich ores, sparse ore. Again, not really good, but at least this planet has no atmosphere. It also has low gravity, so we're gonna have more accessibility. And no atmosphere means that we can put some really good domain artifacts on these planets. I'm probably gonna end up colonizing that world. We have another gas giant. This one's not as good, so we'll probably avoid this one. And then we have barren bombarder worlds. So, unfortunately, food and organics is not going to be a possibility unless we find it on the barren world. We can, I think we can find organics on the barren worlds. I don't think we can find farmland on a barren world. But let's see. This one has thin atmosphere and is extreme heat. Okay, not bad. This can be a refining world, a mining and refining world. We'll also be able to produce really large fleets on that planet due to the extreme heat. Ooh, we got ruins. So sometimes you'll discover ruins on a planet. You have an option here that says explore the ruins, and basically it's like another role for rewards on the planet. Nice. We get a high-tech blueprint. Mmm. Here's a interesting proposal to you guys. If I raid a world and I take their blueprints, would I then be allowed to print those ships? Um, Let me know what you think of that. Or if I discover a blueprint. I'm gonna sell these to the pirates, obviously, so we're gonna get it one way or another. But if I learn that blueprint, would I be allowed to print those ships? Yes or no? And then our last worlds, ugh, huge miss. But again, no atmosphere and hot is those are pretty good modifiers. We may end up settling that world anyway. So overall, a couple misses. Started off really well with diffuse or plentiful volatiles, and then it was kind of wet fart after that. We don't have all of the resources that we'd want. We don't have organics. We don't have um, farmland or food, and that's gonna make colonization a little expensive, and it's gonna reduce our growth. We're gonna be really reliant on. Actually, I don't know if pirates even have. I don't know if pirates have food. Anyway, we're gonna be relying on other streams to get food for our colonies. When we raid, we might have to raid like the Ludic Church, because they have a lot of food producing worlds. But we'll see. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm gonna do the member thank you as part of this episode, just because I don't have the time to edit this video. So just stand by. It's gonna be might be a little jank than normal. All right. And now I'd like to give a massive thank you to my supporters, Randall Porter, Philip Kallenbach. I would also like to give a thank you to Zoni, Wet Noodle, and Kriltic. Thank you guys so much that you are willing to support the channel. It means a lot to me. If you guys would also like to consider becoming YouTube members, that would be the most direct way to support the channel. Again, I will always produce ad-free content, but if you are interested in showing that little bit more dedication, then I would truly appreciate it. Other than that, Grumpy out.